This is Geometry, Unit 9, Day 1's homework, page 175. This is from section 3.4. So for question number 3, we're looking for m, which is slope, is positive. So looking here at our different options, we see that for A it's falling to the right. For D it's increasing to the right. Increasing to the right is your positive slope. For question number 4, we're looking for M is a negative slope. So falling to the right would represent negative slope. So that would be matching with A. We're looking for M is 0. So 0 is your horizontal line. So that's point B. And number 6, the slope is undefined. So undefined is going to be vertical. So that's going to be letter C. So for number 7, notice that our slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we have our points. We could call them x1, y1, x2, y2. So 6 minus 5 and 5 minus 3 gives us 1 over 2. So for number 7, that's a slope of a half. For number 8, we get negative 6 minus 2 over 2 minus a negative 2. That gives us negative 8 over 2 plus 2. That gives us a slope of negative 2. For number 9, we have negative 1 minus a negative 1. Notice how I use parentheses around a negative. If you're going to subtract or add a negative, you should show the notation with parentheses. So this is negative 1 plus 1. This is 3 plus 5. So this is 0 over a number. Doesn't matter what it's over. We know that the slope is going to come out to be 0. 0 over 8 equals 0. For number 10, we get 6 minus 1 and 0 minus 2, 5 over a negative 2. Often you can write that with the negative and then the fraction bar with the 5 and the 2. We don't know which is the negative part. We just know that the fraction, which represents the slope, is negative. It's falling to the right. We can tell that real quick by any of these. From plotting a point 0, 6, 2, 1, we see that the line is falling to the right. So of course a negative slope makes sense. For number 11, we have to look at what the slope is. They're saying that the slope is 4/3, but this is one of those correction, looking for the mistake. 4/3, 4 is your horizontal and 3 is your vertical. Remember that slope is rise over run. So we're rising up 3 and we're running 4. So your slope here would be 3/4, not 4 over 3. For number 12, when you're trying to calculate the slope, Remember, we're going to use the slope formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If you label your points, you have a better chance of setting up the values in the correct location. What they did as a mistake in their representation is that they said 5 minus 7, and then they said 2 minus 4. Or really, they said 7 minus 5, then 4 minus 2. They switched the order. You have to be consistent throughout the problem. If you're going to start with this second point, then we have to start with it again. So we should have a slope of -1, not the positive one that they came up with. For number 13, we're looking to see if it's parallel, perpendicular, or neither. We have line 1. We have some points for line 1. We're going to try to figure out its slope. So we're going to start out with slope number 1 to be 4 minus 0 and 7 minus 1. So that reduces down to 2/3. Slope number 2 is 6 minus 0 and 3 minus 7. So that gives us a -3/2. So these are negative reciprocals. Okay, negative reciprocals. Therefore, the lines are perpendicular. Line 1 is perpendicular to line number 2. For number 14, we're going to look at slope number 1, and that's going to be -2 minus 1, -7 minus a -3, -3 over -7 plus 3, which is -4. That comes out to be 3/4. Slope number 2, 4 minus a -1, 8 minus 2 gives us 5/6. They're different. Slopes are different, so that would be considered neither. If it's neither, then we know that the two lines will definitely cross. For number 15, we're looking at line 1. That would be 7 minus 3 and -5 minus a -9. 4 over 4, which is a slope of 1. Slope number 2 is going to be 2 minus 6 and -7 minus -11. That's going to be a -4 over a +3. So here, these look like neither also. Actually, if you look here, this comes out to be 4, which gives you a slope of -1. So now we're going to see that even if you have a slope of 1 and -1, those are considered opposites of each other, and they're considered reciprocals. Because 1 over 1 is the same thing as 1, and -1 over 1 would be a reciprocal of 1 over 1. Anyway, we're going to look at line, let's call it line instead of slope. Line 1 is perpendicular to line number 2. For question number 33, we're looking at a water slide, and it's 6 feet tall and it's 9 feet long. That's like putting our points on an ordered pair at 0, 6 and at -9, 0, because it's 9 for your length and it's 6 up, our slide would have this positive slope. So you can do it in any order you want, you just have to be consistent throughout the problem. 6 minus 0, those are your y values. 0 minus a negative 9, those are your x values. So 6 over a positive 9. The number that goes into both of these is 3. So we have a slope of 2/3, and we find out that this is a positive slope. So for our next question, we're looking at this chart. We have car A and car B. We have gas remaining, so we started with a little bit less gas, and the distance that we're traveling ends here. We're starting with a little bit more gas, and we're able to land out way over here. Notice that here the two lines are about that close, and in this case are much further apart. So B is getting further out than A is. These two lines are not exactly the same. B is getting a better gas mileage because it is getting further on its gas. For number 39, we're talking about the average rate of change. And average rate of change is having a denominator equal to 1. So we want to convert this ratio so that the denominator is equal to 1. Here we're talking about the average rate of change in dollars per year. Dollars per year. So the dollars will be on top. Per means your ratio or fraction. Years will be on bottom. So we're going to say 15,400 minus 8,500 over, and what's equivalent, what went with the 15,000 but the 2006. So that's almost 7,000. So 6,900 over 6 years. We're going to divide both of these by 6 because we want to get the denominator equal to 1. So 6 goes into 6 once, 6 goes into 9 once with 3 left over. 6 goes into this once. So they're making $1,150 per year. That's the average rate of change from 2000 up to 2006. Each year it raised $1,150. So we get $1,150 per year. Last question. Number 40. For number 40, we have a rock climber, and he starts at 400 feet above sea level. In 45 minutes, he climbs to 706 feet above sea level. We need to find the average rate of change per foot, or in feet per minute. So how many feet does he climb every minute if in 45 minutes he climbs up to here? So feet per minute. We're going to take our 400 feet at 0 minutes at the very beginning, and then we're going to take 706 feet after 45 minutes. So our feet per minute is how this is going to work. We'll take 706 minus 400 over 45 minutes minus 0. So that's going to give us 306 over 45. So I notice that 3 goes into 306. And 3 goes into 45. I also know that 3 goes into 102. And 3 goes into that. Now this last one, notice that we can't keep reducing it and reducing it all the way to get a denominator of 1 because 5 doesn't go into that. So using your calculator, you can take 34 and divide that by 5, and that's going to give us 6.8. And that would be 6.8 feet per minute, or feet in 1 minute.